in spite of the late hour last night. But we're here about important issues affecting our economy and our workforce readiness. So we will convene today to discuss 5G workforce readiness and obstacles to broadband deployment in our country. I welcome our distinguished panel of witnesses and thank them for appearing today. We'll hear from Mr. Brendan Carr, Commissioner at the FCC, Mr. Jimmy Miller, Chairman of the National Association of Tower Erectors and President and CEO of Miller Company Incorporated, Ms. Lisa Youngers, Executive Director of the Fiber Broadband Association, Mr. Harold Feld, Senior Vice President of Public Knowledge, and Ms. Shirley Bloomfield, Chief Executive Officer of NTCA, the Rural Broadband Association. 5G is the fifth generation of wireless communications technology, as every member of the committee knows and as many more Americans are learning. Developing and deploying national 5G networks is critical for the future of the United States. 5G promises to create 3 million new jobs, generate $275 billion in new investment, and will spur up to $500 billion in economic growth. With exponentially faster connections, higher speeds, and significantly larger data capacities, 5G networks are expected to transform almost every industry and economic sector. Last week, this committee heard from administration officials who discussed ongoing advancements in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, advanced manufacturing, and other cutting-edge innovations. Realizing the full economic and social potential of these technologies will depend in large part on the capabilities of the nation's communications infrastructure. As our country moves quickly toward a full-scale deployment of 5G, increasing commercial access to mid-band spectrum and removing barriers to infrastructure investment will be essential to winning the global race in this technology. To date, the FCC has taken meaningful steps to remove regulatory barriers to broadband infrastructure investment. For example, the Commission's efforts to streamline the permitting process for small cell deployment and speed up pole attachment processes will help accelerate 5G build-out and close the digital divide. Workforce readiness is a critical component to U.S. 5G leadership. The equipment installation for 5G will constitute a fundamental shift in network deployment from existing 4G networks. With the deployment of 4G, the wireless industry has been engaged in building and maintaining large cell towers to provide several miles of broadband coverage to certain geographic areas. On the other hand, 5G networks will require the installation of small radio equipment and antennas in such density and scale as to require a substantial increase in labor. Maintenance of this equipment and new technical standards for the implementation of 5G will add even more to the workforce demand. According to reports, the United States faces a 5G labor shortage. Estimates suggest there are approximately 27,000 tower climbers prepared to install 5G equipment. However, it is projected that 20,000 more tower climbers are needed to accelerate the deployment of 5G in order to win the race and secure the first mover advantage in the United States. Additional labor will also be needed to lay fiber, to support wireless connections, install radios, and deploy other essential equipment. To address 5G workforce needs, the Department of Labor is engaged in a joint effort with the telecommunications industry and other government agencies to provide training and improve technical skills among the telecommunications workforce. The Department of Labor's Telecommunications Industry Registered Apprenticeship Program, in conjunction with the Wireless Infrastructure Association, is a good example of efforts targeted at addressing this skills gap. This committee is keenly interested in learning what additional measures federal, state, and local governments can take to train workers and ensure that they have specialized skills to meet 5G deployment demand. I hope witnesses will discuss initiatives within the private sector to improve 5G workforce readiness, including efforts to provide on-the-job training to current workforce, the development of partnerships with local educational institutions to create a pipeline for skilled labor, and discuss how meaningful career opportunities can be created for Americans in this important field. Let me again thank our witnesses for joining us today, and I now recognize my good friend and the ranking member, Senator Cantwell.